Gonna be a bit of time warping involved in this one. Yeah, he's not really that far from Kerbin yet, and he's been out here doing his thing for a while. As long as he doesn't hit any of these asteroids, we should be alright. That's one thing I didn't do in this version. I never wrangled a single asteroid. Guess I got that out of my system when they added that in 0.235. Alright, so this is a interplanetary spacecraft I like to bring up in most of my save files. I wind up designing something very similar to this in pretty much all the versions of the game I have. Usually wind up calling it Anubis. This one is likewise named Anubis. It's got a science lab for resetting experiment bays on the attached lander. Usually give it a nice big 2.5 meter docking port so it can just get boosters stuck onto it, but haven't unlocked that in this particular save file, so we're just going to go with what we have here. It's got those... Whoa. Oh, right. Trajectories mod. Don't need that for now. Let's set an alarm for sphere of influence change. There we go. As fast as we can time warp it, it's still moving this slowly. As you can see, nothing out beyond the Duna orbit. I have not explored any of the planets out there. Not going to in this save file. Hopefully in 0.25 I'll be able to get back out there again. Once I stop fiddling around with space planes that don't work, I think. Alright, so our mission here, our big goal, is I want to swing by Ike, drop this lander down, get some science, and then bring everybody home. Though there are 4 Kerbals aboard this ship, so it's going to have to rendezvous in Kerbin orbit with another spacecraft to get everybody down in one trip. Alright, so we want to, I guess we just kind of aero brake here. Oh, and we're already on the 90. That's unbelievably perfect. So not the ideal direction to be orbiting. Rather be going clockwise, but counterclockwise, I should say. But this works. Alright, let's bring up the trajectories mod so we have a good idea of what our aero braking is going to do for us. Yes, it kind of looks like we're going to hit Ike there, but it's not going to be there by the time we go by. Oh. Alright, so we want to aero brake into a nice wide orbit that has the best chance possible of getting snagged by Ike. There we are out of the atmosphere. So I'm going to point pretty much straight up here and try and lift my periapsis. Which that is not doing. I need to point... Oh, I do actually need to point down. Because I need to kind of circularize the orbit. I want to effectively rotate the orbit around Duna to the right. I see that's coming up now. This is probably a waste of fuel. I could have just waited till I was out here and done it, and that would have been... Yeah, let's actually do that. Let's just... Apoapsis, alarm, go. So let's just get us pointed on the prograde vector. And we'll boost our apoaps, or our periaps out of the atmosphere, and we will officially be in Duna orbit. Success! We have completely explored Duna. Now we just need to do the same for Ike. Oh, speaking of, there's an Ike encounter on our next orbit. Yeah, so that works. Just, right, forget that. Don't need to do anything there. Just fast forward around and we'll hit Ike next go around. Gonna start burning in about 35 seconds before 0, I think. Ought to give us the best chance of getting into the orbit we wanted. So you want to try and split the maneuver up evenly around 0 if it's going to take a long time. And these nuclear engines are extremely efficient, but not particularly powerful. I feel bad for the Kerbal and the lander. He's probably getting a lot of radiation. But, I mean, he's already glowing green, so I don't think this will hurt him that much. When's my next transfer back to... over a year. Ugh. Okay, these guys are going to be here for a while. And set. Oh wow, that was a good burn. In an orbit so circular, the game's not even sure how circular it is. Oh, that's less than 200 meters from being a perfectly circular orbit. Neat. Very neat. Okay, so let's do a little more science while we're up here. High radiation environment has caused a few samples to glow. That's one of the generic ones. Doesn't look like there's anything special for Ike. Goo feels right at home. There appears to be some steep rocky slopes. The higher areas are lighter in color, and the lowlands appear to be a very dark gray. So I don't think there's biomes on Ike, so we are going to we're going to make for one of the higher regions, I think, so we can spend a little less fuel to get down and up again. Send this guy on EVA to collect everything again. Let's see, that's... yeah, I want to aim for right about here. I don't know how steep that's going to be, but it should be the highest elevation I can get on this orbit. So we're going to send one of the science guys down with him. Who we got? We got Tompless and Scott Kerman. So let's get Scott. It's one of the Kerbals with special names. There's every so often you get a Kerbal that has the name of a real person. That's someone that the developers are fond of. In this case, this is named for Scott Manley. He does a lot of instructional videos on YouTube for this game. He has a fantastic Scottish accent as well. And one of the developers was just joking earlier how they could just post a picture of him and you'd start reading it in his voice. So let's go ahead and undock. Get a little further away from the interplanetary craft before I do my descent burn. Also, helps if I turn on the engine, I think. Yep, that it did. Oh, bit too much there. I had my fingers off of the on the wrong keys. Let's just spin around and try and get a little more distance here. See what our trajectory is. I don't know how fast this thing orbits. I don't have a landing spot. There we are. Okay, not too bad. Let's bring that back just a tiny bit. Alright, so then once we get close, I'll actually be able to slow down and stop. What have we accomplished? Achieve orbit around Ike and recover data from space around Ike. Complete. Legs deployed. We're good on power, so I'm going to keep the solar panels retracted until we've actually stabilized on the surface. Let's descend a bit. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty easy touchdown from the looks of it. It reminds me a lot of landing on Minmus. Starting to see some rocks now that we're closer. Presumably just as immaterial as the ones on Duna and Eve and the Moon. Oh, this is a heck of a slope, isn't it? And that is definitely going to be a successful landing in my book. Thought we were going to start rolling downhill there, but it looks like we recovered nicely. That reaction wheels in this lander are quite effective for that. Let's check the temperature. Collected and recorded temperature data from the environment. What is the temperature here? Negative 95.95 degrees Celsius. We record the crew's assessment of the situation. Let's go ahead and transmit that. Get our solar panels extended. Some mystery goo experiments. You observe the goo. Dramatic. One of the samples has reacted very strangely to the surface of Ike. It has begun making speeches and cursing at Hitler. Don't think I have a barometer on board, but I don't think there's an atmosphere here, so probably doesn't matter. Oh yeah, pretty low gravity there. So this is neat. This is a place I have never been with Kerbals before, so momentous occasion for me. Okay, not quite as low gravity as Minmus. Kind of feels like almost halfway between the Moon and Minmus. You look up at the sky and see something zip past. Presumably our spacecraft from earlier surface sample. Dark black soil has an almost crystalline structure that's fun to play with. That is worth a ton of science. So let's pop a flag down here. Dun, 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 dun. forgot what the... Oh, it's probably Scott. That sounds dramatic enough. Let's look at the plaque. On a round trip from Kerbin, a bold Kerbal landed here before all others.